Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of Fade to Obsidian. Maybe I should say this month's episode of Fade to Obsidian. As always, I am Crescent, joined by Skipper,
Hello.
and in for a special guest episode,
Yay.
Anemone.
Anemone. Welcome,
Also-
Anemone.
Also known as Maurice Africh, author of Cello's Gate.
Yeah.
Welcome in. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you so much for coming.
We're so
You're very
excited.
welcome. I'm so excited to be here. I'm so thankful for y'all for inviting me. It's incredible. It's an honor.
Yeah. Aw, yeah,
Oh,
we're so
goodness.
excited.
Yeah.
This is it's a little bit overdue because I think March is when I read it and I was like, yeah, we're going to get you on. And then my brain, and now this is going to come out in July. So it's
Honestly,
fine. We're
it
here
is
now.
The same for me. These last 3 months have just flown. I mean, it's been insane.
Nice.
So
I love it.
I didn't know it was that long. I didn't know it was that long ago, honestly.
Yeah, it's crazy. Well, we'll get into that in a second. Before we get into anything, we always ask our hosts or our guests. We're the host. You're the guest. Number one, how did you get your Howler name? And number two, what are you drinking?
I got my Howler name because I shared a tidbit of information on the little chat under the questionnaire that when I was right out of college, I saw the movie Paranormal Activity in theaters.
Yeah.
And then I couldn't sleep at night without imagining myself getting dragged off my bed and pulled down the hallway. So I had to watch a movie at night to have like the noise just to like help me go to sleep. I just had severe night anxiety.
Oh my god.
And the movie I chose to watch was Finding Nemo.
Aw.
And I've seen it probably upwards of 300 times. I mean, if not more. I have at least the first 35 minutes memorized.
I
'Cause
love
that's
that.
usually when I fall asleep.
Yeah.
Like me with
Aw.
Community.
Yeah. Nice.
I also did it with The Office, but
Oh,
I
okay.
didn't share that.
Yeah.
I
I
love
like
the
it.
name, by the way.
It's great.
So fun, so unique.
Good.
And I have like a litany of starred GIFs that I have for reactions that are all just Finding Nemo themed. So
That's
like, I try to
perfect.
just stick to those, you know?
I love that. And I love that means that I can pronounce it incorrectly and it is actually true to your Howler name, rather than if you were like,
Yeah.
I'm a marine biologist, and I'm like, well, now I got to get it right. Like, now I have to actually put in the work
No,
here.
that's all part of the lore. It's like you
I
gotta
love
pronounce it
it.
incorrectly sometimes. Oh, and I'm drinking coffee, even though it's
Ah.
9:45 at night.
You do?
And my special
I respect the
Wakey
game.
Goblin.
That's perfect.
And I also have backup Topo Chicos because I heard there was alcohol here.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't drink very often, so yeah. And it's a weekday.
Nice.
But I
Yeah.
do have Topo Chicos. And I love mineral water, but hopefully I won't drink too many of those because then I'll just start burping. It'll be a problem
It happens.
for
It's
the
okay.
editor.
Yeah. It'll be fine.
We're Skipper.
Crescent loves making me have extra things to do. Crescent, what are you drinking?
Chief. At the moment, I am drinking a simply spiked peach lemonade.
Nice.
And at some point, I'll disappear for several seconds and grab one of multiple dozen bottles of whiskey.
Nice. There you go. There is nothing in my house. Nothing. So I have gin and Sprite, which wouldn't normally mix, but there is nothing. I was like, I don't have juice. I don't have anything. And then I have water. Stay hydrated.
Is there a story behind there being nothing in your house?
I live with my father, and normally he does the grocery shopping, and he's abandoned me to the cottage for weeks, which means I just start living on whatever's in the freezer, and unfortunately I'm out of frozen lemonade is essentially what it is. There's nothing else.
Your everyday. Yeah, I get it.
I have to eventually go to the grocery store. But yesterday I broke into the frozen steaks because if you're going to abandon me with only frozen food, I'm going to eat the steak at some point. That's what's going to happen. But
Heck yeah.
Yeah, that's where we're at. But yeah, let's jump in. So yeah, thank you so much. So you are one of our Den authors that we are pleased to have. I think the second official Den author we've had on the show, because we have had Twist, who is Taryn. I am forgetting her last name. Taryn. Flame of Prometheus. Um, and so we're so honored that you agreed to join us as well. Do you want to give us a small recap? How we're going to do this for things is for the first half, we're going to do no spoilers. So anyone currently watching, you are safe. We will hit a point halfway through the episode where we'll go full. We can talk about anything. So for right now, to your target audience, what is Cello's Gate about? Why should we read it?
I have the elevator pitch.
Okay.
Cello's Gate is about a crew of sky pirates who are hired by an ancient immortal to locate and steal. Oh, hey, puppy! A mythological stone from an uncharted island protected by a mysterious guardian. It's like Firefly meets
Yeah.
Indiana Jones meets Final Fantasy. It's gotten also like Guardians of the Galaxy. Treasure Planet, those kind of inspos. So
I love
it's
it.
really just, I mean, it's a fun, super fun science fantasy epic adventure. Like that's what it is. It's an action
Absolutely.
adventure story.
And it's so easy to read, and like flew through it in like 3 days because I was just obsessed. Also, when you said Treasure Planet, that I think is what like initially I was like, oh, I need Treasure Planet. Like, love that.
You
Uh,
can't do. I mean, we grew up on that. You know, you can't do a Sky Pirate story
absolutely.
without some of that leaking in. You know.
Absolutely. I love that. So we did ask a few people for questions, and right off the bat,
Cool.
Lotus wants to know what aspect of the book did you come up with first?
Oh, interesting. So the first thing that I ever did was I came up with the crew and
Okay.
their names and their job titles. So I was playing Final Fantasy Tactics at the time, and there you kind of have like classes or jobs. They're called jobs. So I put on a piece of paper, Gray Captain, Dot Knight, Mars Tank. I put all the characters, all of the ones that are there, plus two who are not there in the book anymore. And then I drew, because it was originally 9 stones. I drew 9 circles and colored them with color pencil, and then I put that above my desk, and it was above my desk the entire time I was writing. So that is the first thing I came up with was
That's
the
really
crew.
cool. I love that. Yeah, and your crew, like that's part of one of my favorite things is the found family that you've done so well.
Thank you. That's like I love found family. I love misfits. A group of like outsiders coming together.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I wanted. That I think every book I'll write will probably have some form of that,
I love
just
that.
because those are the books I love to read, and so like I'm just writing what I love, you know.
For sure. Makes sense. Crescent, did I cut you off there?
No, you're good.
Oh, okay.
Um,
I thought we were talking about the same time.
no. Okay, so that was the first thing you wrote. Where did the whole idea come from?
So I mentioned Final Fantasy Tactics. In there, are either of you familiar with Final Fantasy Tactics? That
I'm not
story?
with tactics, but I know
Okay.
Final Fantasy as
I
a
played
whole.
most of Tactics, and then all of a
Oh,
sudden
there you
I
go.
hit a brick wall.
It's a grind. At some point, you just have to grind. But that in that story, they have these stones that are basically possessed by demons,
Mm.
and the cardinals of this church are like getting them, and then they're taking that power onto themselves, and they're turning into these beasts that you have to fight. Um, and I was like, that's kind of cool. And so that's where the idea was born. And I was like, I want to do like treasure hunt, but I want it to be like sciency. I want like Red Rising. I wanted cool swords. I wanted my
Yeah.
lightsaber. I wanted my crew. So I was like, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna start writing a heist. And so I wrote that first chapter, which is I probably wrote that 8 different ways. with like different perspectives, and I did it first person, I did it third person, I did it past tense and present tense, and I wrote that so many. I mean,
Yeah.
I kind of get a little confused because I don't actually remember what the final version is because I wrote it so many times, uh, and what's in there or not. But so I started there and just started building. And when I wrote this originally, I was a huge pantser. Do y'all know what a pantser is?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Basically,
I was a mega
pompous in your
pantser. I
pants.
was
Yeah.
like, if I plot it, I won't, I'll get bored. So, yeah, it took me it took me 2 years to write, and I meandered like crazy, stopped halfway. But yeah, that's where it started. The idea started because I wanted these powerful stones, and
Yeah.
I wanted to write about a pirate crew going on a hunt to find them. I just thought it was a really cool device that could like keep you engaged for several books. And so
Absolutely.
that's kind of what inspired everything.
I love that. It's great. So you got a little bit into there about your writing process, but like, do you have a specific like writing process, or is it just write when you can, or what does that look like for your?
So up until I worked with my developmental editor, I was a pantser. Written 5 novels by the time I published Cello's Gate. So and I queried several of those. Cello's Gate's the first one I decided to like really go for it with.
Yeah.
When I hired my developmental editor, I learned that outlining's a pretty good way to go. So now in writing book 2, I have it completely outlined. I know every chapter, but I'm also
Okay.
like I have the fluidity to like get away from that if I want
Yeah.
to as things develop. I'm not going to be beholden. I don't want to. I said this in another interview. I don't want to How I Met Your Mother myself,
Yep.
where I'm so stuck on an ending or a particular plot point that I refuse to go where the story takes me. So I'm trying to do a combo. I try to write 1,000 to 2,000 words a day,
Wow. Okay.
and I mean that's where we are. That's
Yep.
that's where we are right now.
That's awesome.
Very Sanderson way of going about it.
Yeah, I mean Brandon Sanderson, man. If you want to learn how to write, that's the guy. That's the
Yeah.
guy to model after
Absolutely.
for sure.
Yeah, Stephen King does the same thing of like it doesn't matter what you're writing. He has like a quota that it doesn't matter, you have to sit there and you have to get the words, and it doesn't matter if the words don't actually pertain to anything. You just get those words out cuz eventually you'll force yourself into something, which is great. I think
Yeah,
Daniel
I
Steele,
took a
there's a
creative
whole
writing
bunch that
class.
like that. Yeah.
I took a creative writing class in college, and we read On Writing by
Mm,
Stephen King. It's
yeah.
such a good book, such a great like kind of like into the technicalities and stuff like that. But yeah, that's where I was like, you just gotta write, you just gotta write. I'd love seeing that interview with him and George R. R. Martin, where George R. R. Martin's
Yes.
like, how do you write so many damn words? And Stephen King's like, I don't know, I just do it. And that guy
Yeah.
can't write. I mean, George R. R. Martin. I mean,
It's what yeah, we're never getting Winds of Winter. We're never
Yeah,
getting
the
it.
the polar opposite of Brandon Sanderson.
Yeah.
yes. I mean, I love Brandon Sanderson. All he does is write and sign books.
Mhm.
Like that's just him. He just writing and signing books.
Yeah.
But he's so crazy. I think he has. He said he has like a. I don't want to say it, a mental illness, or, but he has kind of something that it's got a name where he feels like it's a compulsion that he needs to just
Oh.
write
Yeah.
like crazy.
Really? I had not heard
I
that.
don't. I saw it in an interview. I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it's called. Don't quote me.
I like it.
I guess
This
Recorded.
this
is
is on the
recorded.
air. So like yeah, this is recorded. My bad, Brando Sando, if I'm
It's
wrong.
fine. It's fine. People in the
Don't
comments can
sue
let
me
us
for slander.
know. Yeah, no, it'll be fine. We'll be fine. Uh, so you have an editor you work with. Like, what you said this was you had 5 previous, and then this book that you're working
Yeah, so I
that you got published.
my first book I ever wrote was a superhero like
Oh,
sci-fi kind of story. And then I rewrote that, and then I was like, you know what? I want to venture into like I want to win a Pulitzer Prize. So I'm going to like write fucking speculative fiction. So I started doing like really light sci-fi, near future sci-fi. And then I got really serious about a book. I queried it. I queried over 100 agents. No one picked it up. I did get a few full requests, but it just wasn't something that people were interested in. And so I was like, I think I need to try my hand at fantasy because fantasy is what I read.
Mm-hmm.
So I started writing Cello's Gate, and yeah, it's a whole. I mean, it's a lot that went into that because I also queried Cello's Gate. I queried over 100 agents. Had a mental breakdown in the middle of it, and decided to like finally just go for it and like stop waiting for somebody to open a door for me and just open a door myself. And so I hired my editors. I have two editors actually. My first editor, speaking of Brandon Sanderson, she actually worked on the Final Empire,
Okay.
with Mistborn book one.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
that that was like, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna work with you. She is an
Thoughts,
expert
yeah.
at like the psychology of storytelling, which is really what you need in a developmental editor, somebody who can look at your story and be like, break it down for you and be like,
Yeah.
these are the beats you need to hit. This is like, these are your character arcs. Are they strong enough? I mean, we worked just hours and hours together. It's totally worth the expense. If anybody is going out there, anybody listening to this wants to publish a book, I highly, highly recommend getting a developmental editor. And then my line editor, I hired her. She's also my proofreader. She worked on the Magicians trilogy
Oh, I love that.
by Lev Grossman,
Yeah.
which I love those books and I love that show. The show's better than the books, actually, I
Mm-hmm.
think. Um, but yeah, so both of those, they're a part of my team now, just like Felix Ortiz, who did the cover art for Cello's Gate. He's a part of my team. I've already reached out to all of them. They're already on the calendar for book two. So we're
Awesome.
moving.
That's amazing. Well, I'm gonna jump ahead because I mean, just on that note, there was 3 different people who messaged me, including Lotus, just straight up said, "Where the fuck is book two?"
It's book two.
I don't want
Yeah.
to add pressure. I don't usually like asking this because, like, you take your time. I'm all about quality over quantity, but do we have where it might be?
It's
Where?
very respectful of you. I don't mind the question. It just means that people are excited, and that
Yeah.
that makes me excited. I'm like a big like that motivates me. But yes, so the plan right now is for a late summer, early fall release in 2026.
Nice. Okay.
I'm gonna try to stay on like a 1.5 year release schedule.
Yep.
You
Yep.
know, we'll see if that happens that way. I would love to be able to like be consistent, but a lot of that depends on finances because it's not cheap to
Yeah.
hire people who I hire, to hire developmental editors and line editors, cover artists, and now all those people have like they're charging more now because it's been 2 years since I worked with them. So yeah, I think money's going to play a big factor, but also just I mean, the story's got to work, right? So if
Yeah.
I get a crazy developmental edit and she's like, you need to change all this and we're going to change all this, and it might take longer. I don't think so, though. I don't think so. I
Okay.
I mean, I'm pretty confident. I'm pretty excited about where book two
Yeah.
at and where it's going. Um, and so that's the goal. The goal is late summer, early fall, 2026.
Awesome. Okay. I'm
You heard it
excited.
here first, folks.
Yeah. Well, on that similar thing, Bobbin asked about the audiobook that she saw on Instagram that you're recording the audiobook yourself, which is awesome, by the way. Is there a time frame you're expecting to have it out, or and do you know what platforms or anything? Like, where are we with on an audiobook?
So I believe it's going to be like mid fall
Okay.
2025.
Okay.
That's the goal. I have my final meeting with my audiobook coach. I went like totally legit. I had a guy come in and invest in the audiobook because he was just really excited for it.
That's
And
awesome.
so I hired a coach. He's like walking me through the setup. I just want to make it as good as possible. I
Yeah.
have experience with recording. I had a compressor mic. I
You
I
look
didn't have
very
this. It's
professional.
like thank
Yeah,
you. I got all this after the fact, but I do. I was in a band. I don't know if y'all know that.
No. New
not until
lore
just now.
drop.
Yeah.
So my wife and I are actually an indie duo, an indie pop duo, and we released a studio album in 2019. We're gonna release a second album in 2020, but then COVID hit, so
Oh,
everything got
yeah.
shelved, and then I just started taking my writing more seriously. So we kind of put that on the shelf. But we have an album out. It's still electric. Shout out, still electric.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah,
yeah.
we will
So I
be
have a
dropping links for that.
Yeah.
yeah.
I got it right.
We
Yeah.
have I have experience with recording. I've been a musician my whole life, so I was like, I feel like I can do this. I was all huge theater kid
Yep.
in high school and college. I went to college for theater.
Oh,
So like I can do voices, I play D&D. Maybe we can do
yeah.
this. I don't know. Well, I feel good about it. We'll see. It's coming along nicely. It's all about the technicals at this point
Yeah.
and how much I can record every day and how much I can write a book to every day. So it's like it's a lot. It's a lot. And I'm
You got a
also,
lot.
I have a job and I work full time. And
Wow.
so yeah.
That's so cool, though. That's
Man,
amazing.
the man is busy.
Yeah. Did I answer the question? I feel like
Yeah, you did.
I'm drinking this
I just
coffee. You guys,
Uh,
I'm just rambling.
Platforms is the only
Yeah.
thing.
What
I'm
platform?
gonna
Any
try to
expected
get it
platforms.
everywhere. So just like my book, I kind of have it available as many places as possible.
Yeah.
And if there is a place that is not available, let me know because I'll get it in there. I'm gonna try to do the same thing with the audiobook. I don't know how Audible works. I know it's owned by Amazon, so I imagine it works pretty similar to KDP.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I'm
They
sure.
tried to get me to make an AI audiobook, and I was like, no.
Bark.
No,
Yeah.
don't do that one. That's awesome. I love that. I'm just trying to see. Oh, something along the lines. I have been watching your Instagram stories, and a lot of people have picked up on this. You do amazing Instagram, but you have a lot of reviewers. Like, how much work are you putting into marketing and everything for this? Because
I
it
work
seems like it's a lot.
marketing. Yeah, my wife is she's like an executive level marketer, so she's like an
Oh,
interim
okay.
CMO and marketing expert
Yep.
for major corporations. I mean, she like works with $1 million budgets, which is a bit different, but with her on my side, I had a bit of a leg up. So I had a full 6-month marketing strategy that was pretty intense coming into this. And but I work on marketing and on social media probably about 4 hours a day every day,
Wow.
no days
Oh,
off because you can't. um and so it's a lot of work, but I mean obviously it's working,
Yeah.
so I'm
yeah,
like
for sure.
I'm eventually gonna run out of steam, I'm sure. I haven't gotten there yet,
But
so
hopefully I feel like at that point, like, you run out of steam and the fandom will pick it up. Like, you have a crazy
right.
following here in the den. Like, people
Yeah,
love
people are
talking about
feral
it.
for it.
Lotus
Thank
here
you.
from the den just did, and I think Bobbin's
Yeah.
done posts
Mhm.
about it. Like, absolutely, like,
It's
people love it.
exciting. I mean, every day I'm getting people making Instagram posts or TikToks about it. And it's like the goal of this, the whole marketing strategy was I had two names. It was like build the hype. So like I just really wanted it to be overhyped. I wanted it
Yeah.
like I wanted somebody to be like, man, this book is so overhyped. Once that happens, I'm gonna feel so good. Because I'm gonna feel like, yes, it is overhyped. Too many people say this is so good. Uh, and the second one is just like all marketing is just rolling that boulder up the hill.
Yep.
And so I'm waiting for the boulder to crest, hit the crest of the hill and start rolling on its own. Like that. And I think it's doing that a little bit. So like, I guess maybe I
Yeah.
got to change the analogy. I don't know.
I don't know. I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, it's
you're just hoping you're not Sisyphus.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, 100%. But I mean, that's also, it's part of being an indie author. There's a thing that like everybody says, don't even market your first book because you're not going to be successful until you have a full catalog. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah, fuck
do
that
know
noise.
that I know that it's an uphill battle,
Yeah.
especially being indie and also only having one book. But I am very happy with the results so far.
Yeah. No, you're doing a
Absolutely.
great job. And I think right
Thank
now
you.
it's an interesting place in so I work in publishing, like I'm a bookseller, and it's always interesting right
Oh,
now of how people start to know about books and like how big book talk is. Like the company I work for has trending on book talk that absolutely drives most of the sales because of that.
wow.
So I think having that marketing that you do and making the connections, and I mean it helps so much of how wonderful a human you are that we all want to support you, but also you wrote an
Thank you.
incredible book that we all read. Like I'm not gonna lie, every time I'm like read a friend's book, I'm like, okay, we'll see how this goes. But yours, I was like, oh no, I'm not
Yeah.
putting this down. Like, I am not, I am getting through this immediately. And I need book two. Like, so I think kudos to you on so many different levels. And anyone who's
Thank you.
listening who has not read it, please pick it up.
Yes,
Because,
absolutely.
yeah, we will
Pick up
keep
3
this
Citizen.
copies,
rock going.
gift them to 2 people,
Yeah.
tell them to gift 2 more to 2 more people.
Yeah.
Yes. It's like an MLM. If we make this like an
Yeah,
MLM, we just all recruit 2 people.
Yes.
exactly.
Absolutely. I love that. Well, I think that's all I'm going to say right now, non spoiler. So, people
Okay.
who have not read it, thank you for being here. Go away and then read it and come
And then
back
come
and
back.
watch the rest of this once you've finished.
I'm
Cool?
so excited.
Great. Everyone, spoilers in like 3, 2, 1. Okay, great. They're gone. Let's get into some of this. I'm just gonna go through from Fountain sends the oh my gosh, the question. So I'm like overheating in my house right now. How did you go about creating the technology and weapons for the world?
So I did mention this a little bit. I wanted my own sword. Like I wanted a razor. I wanted a lightsaber. And I was like, I really want something that's kind of in that same vein of like so OP that it's revered
Mm,
in the world. And so I just went pen to paper and just started playing with ideas. Um, and I knew Dot. I knew Dot, and I knew what she was gonna look like. I knew she was gonna be a badass. So like, I kind of formed it around her, and I was like, what can she do? What would be useful to her? And then that's how I created the torches. Um, but because we're in a, I also Gray's a gunslinger, so I wanted there to be a focus on weapons, but a reason why people still use swords, which is like I took that Dune inspiration and created the shields. But like kinetic shields are crazy. They're like
yeah.
coming up with like how
For
does that
real.
work? Okay, but why doesn't that block a blade? You know, it's like, oh, so you got to do like it only blocks of a certain like I mean I went really deep. I was like, these shields were actually first invented to stop rain. They were like umbrellas, and then they were repurposed by the military. Those kinetic forces were sped up, so you could basically choose the kinetic range that you're blocking with the shield,
Yeah.
and so that's where like bullets work, but swords can still go through them. There's like a lot that I was basically shit testing myself constantly, like trying to come up with flaws. But those are the biggest pieces of technology. Everything else is just like ships. A lot of people think I still get the space pirates, and it's not space. They don't go to space. I actually make a joke about
Right.
that in the book. Willow makes a joke about it. Uh, if we don't launch, we don't go to space. We're these are airships, right?
They're sky
And airships
pirates,
are usually
Yeah.
they're sky pirates, not space pirates. But
not
there is
space
like
pirates.
my editor actually when I was working with her, she's like, "Yeah, the space pirates." I was like, "Well, they're sky pirates." And she's like, "Oh, right. Are you sure?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm sure." And she's like, "Do you want why don't you just do it all different planets?" And I was like, "Cuz planets are huge." And also
Mm,
I'd have to deal with space. I just didn't want to write that
I
like
get it.
I didn't want to write about space and because there's so much science that goes into it and I
I
was
was gonna say, so
very
much more
overwhelmed.
research.
Yeah, so much. And I was like, and then a planet finding a stone on a planet because we're in the spoilers now.
No, yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. Say
finding
whatever you want.
yeah,
Nope.
yeah. So finding the guardians and finding
Yeah.
the fragments on a whole planet would be outrageous.
Yeah.
Just the logistics of that. Doing it on an island, I was like, I was doing crazy stuff. I had to figure out the speed. I had to figure out the size of Imperia so that I could know how fast they have to travel at Mach 2 because I wanted them to be able to go quick because
Yeah.
it's like, it's the future. They have gravitational stuff on the ships. But like in order to fly Mach 2 for 8 hours, the planet has to be bigger than Earth. Um,
Sure.
so there's so much weird science that you like that no one's ever gonna see. It's just like on a
I
document
love that
on my
though.
computer.
That's
Yeah,
amazing.
I did
that
the
you have
work.
that.
I
Yeah.
Yeah,
definitely did
the
the work.
deep
I don't
knowledge,
remember
yeah.
the work. Yeah.
Yeah. That's
So that's
cool.
how
It's okay.
how did I
Skipper
come up
doesn't
with it?
understand how space works, so
I
it's fine.
don't. I had to ask the other day why the sun was not setting due west. I was very confused on how everything works.
Listen, the less I have to deal with space stuff, the better. I don't want to have to worry about a vacuum. It's
Yeah.
already enough just living on one planet, But like Pierce, Pierce does great work with like the space battles are incredible. And then also like the on-planet battles, he proved that he fucking kills that too. So yeah, it's just like I think it was more work than I wanted to do.
Yeah.
That wasn't the question. The question was how did I come up with the technology?
The technology, but
I
it's
just
all technology. You're good.
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
I said this
And
on
you talk
another
about whatever the hell you want to talk
Yeah,
about.
we'll.
Right. Thanks. Hey, I am such a fucking rambler, man.
I love it.
Yeah.
The thing about how I create is I create how I like to call it center out. So I create what I need
Okay.
as I need it. So that's kind of how it was like as the story needed something new, I would create something new. So I did a lot of like preemptive world building. Like it's easier to write a fantasy book if you know what your map looks like. It was easier to write about the island because I drew a map
Right.
for like I drew the treasure map. I
Yeah.
had that on hand so that I could reference it while I was writing. But a lot of the technology and stuff was like it just came up as I was writing.
I love that. That's so cool. Yeah, I can't wait. Yeah, there's so many great aspects, and like again, I don't understand all of it. I just like go with the. I'm like sure, but like it's very well done how you've done it.
Thank you. One of the hard things about being a debut author is nobody knows that they can trust you yet. So there's you're kind of going in like, are they going to pull this off the whole time? You don't know that there are going to be these. It's easier to pull off twists because nobody expects that I'm going to be able to pull a twist. So like when those hit, they're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think my goal with this book was to prove to readers that I could write, that I could stick to the script, that the plot will move, but it'll be worth it too. Like you
Yeah.
won't get all the answers right up front, but when you do get the answers, you're gonna be excited to get them. So hopefully I was able to accomplish that with Cello's Gate so that moving forward there is a little bit more of that writer to reader trust that is built.
Yeah, that's
I
awesome.
know there's certainly answers I want.
I'm curious what those are. I'd love to hear them.
Yeah.
Basically Mars. All of Mars.
Oh, Mars.
Yeah.
He's incredible character. Like, frankly, all of your characters are fantastic. They're all so well fleshed out. Like, there's a number of writers that just they write a wooden character,
Yeah.
and yours are not. Yours are anything but.
Absolutely.
Is Mars your favorite? I'd love to ask people this. Who's your favorite character?
Oh my god. I think yes. Like, he's obviously very tragic, but he doesn't let it ruin him. From what it seems like so far, he still tries to be good.
Yeah. There's something about a Mars archetype that I find really beautiful. I wanted Mars. He was always, as soon as I created him, he was always this way. He had this tragic backstory, but he smiled through it anyway. He has this lost love, but he sees the joy because he experienced so much darkness. And he is the type of character that a lot of people write, and they write like they are like kind of one-dimensional. They're built to die. They're built to sacrifice themselves. But I think the Mars storyline isn't about. He's not written to offer himself up for other people. I think Mars, if he finally gets to become the person he's meant to be, he'll finally start to like not give himself up for other people, and he'll start being a little more selfish and a little less selfless. Because I think that character is overdone, and we don't see them grow in that way. So I'm really excited to see where Mars goes. There's so many ways, so many things that can happen, and I don't even know. Well, we'll see.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Lotus wants to know who your favorite character is and why.
Mine?
Yours.
My favorite character.
Pick one of your babies.
Coming off of book 1, my favorite character to write was probably Cello.
Yeah.
He was just super fun to like every scene with him, just like you get to do things with a character like that you can't do with anybody else. Like he's just he does whatever the hell he wants, and he's real sassy, and he's like he can back it up too. So I loved writing Cello. My favorite character, it depends on the day. I would say Dot's a clear favorite. Just because
I love Dot. Wonderful. Yeah, and Dot seems to resonate with so many people. Like, it was funny reading through of the amount of love for Dot. Like, when we were, reading through the Discord channel, like, the amount of love for Dot that,
The Discord channel has a lot, but almost every review mentions Dot. Like, Dot is so well received and so well loved by the fans of this series. And I'm not surprised, but I am surprised by how much. I love Gray also because, I just love that character, that archetype. I love the captain. I'm a huge fan of Mal from Firefly. Like that's a big inspiration for me. But I wanted to write an MC that wasn't just like boring. I wanted him to have like his own quirks and his own personality and be somebody that you could root for. And I think an underappreciated character from the fan base so far is Min, who I love Min. I love her powers. I think the Oracle abilities are super cool. But I don't know. I can't pick. You can't make me pick. I won't pick.
Lotus also wants to know Lotus, who also wants to know your least favorite. Who's your least?
It's got to be Jean.
Oh yeah. Okay.
But I love Jean. He's manic. He's like my Nightcrawler. Let me think. Least favorite character. Coming into book 2, probably Benji.
Okay.
Cause fuck that guy. No, I don't know. I love Benji too, though. I think he's funny. Who do I? You can't make me pick, Lotus. I'm not picking.
All right. That's fine. You touched on Firefly. And okay, Crescent, what's your Firefly question?
So it had been years since I watched it, and I read Cello's Gate, and I hadn't made the connection, and my partner and I have just a list of media that she's never seen and that she needs to. And Firefly was on it, so we started watching that. And I was like, oh my fucking God, it's Cello's Gate.
My favorite is he messages me, hey, so Cello's Gate, like, a high Firefly inspired. And I went, yeah, that's in, like, all of the blurbs. I was like, why are you coming to this together?
Yeah, I had not read any... I literally had no knowledge of anything coming in. I saw the cover.
Like, I was like...
oh, my God. I love that
so
much. Because last year, my wife had never seen Firefly either. And I had written this book, and I had already written it. It was with my line editor. So, like, the book was done. And I was like, hey, we should watch it. I have not seen Firefly since high school. So, like,
I haven't
I
probably seen
hadn't
it
seen
since high
it.
school. Yeah. I need a
And I was like,
rewatch.
yeah, we should rewatch it. I was like, I'll rewatch it, and you can watch it for the first time. And halfway through the second episode, Rachel was like, did you just fucking take everything from Firefly? And I was like, no, this wasn't on purpose.
That's so funny.
I didn't realize how, especially those first few episodes with the pre-story, are like almost shot for shot, like crazy stuff. Like the whole heist at the beginning, the train heist. I don't know. It was definitely like, it was heavily inspired in that I loved Firefly so much.
Yeah.
All the parallels though were honestly very unintentional. I did not mean to create like a fan made Firefly.
So
It's almost like it started as
it's just
fan
really
fiction.
well done fanfic. Yeah. I was thinking about it yesterday or the day before, and I was like, oh my god, like all these characters, like they line up like so close. Like you've got Min and Farlow, and it's River and Simon. You've got Gray and Mal.
Yeah.
You know, Willow and oh my gosh, Willow's husband,
Bones.
Bones. Yeah, but they're like kind of flipped from Zoe and Wash.
Yeah, I definitely did that on purpose too. Yeah.
That's so funny.
It's yeah, and like the fact that it didn't cross my mind until later after I watched Firefly again. So good.
That's incredible. I'm glad but I'm also glad that there's a bit of that, like there's almost like something about my writing that I've noticed and that other people have noticed and told me is that I write familiar. So there's something like I use language that I experience, so like in love, so like from stuff growing up. I throw little Easter eggs. Like I don't know, at Final Fantasy, I have a Final Fantasy reference in the story, and it's Biggs and Wedge are characters that are featured in every Final Fantasy game.
Oh.
They're names that have been featured in every game from the beginning, from Final Fantasy 1, I believe, or Final Fantasy 2. And so I have a Biggs and a Wedge in the pre-story.
Yeah.
So like little things like that, there's something, the torches are like lightsabers. There's something familiar and nostalgic about it.
Mhm.
But I think that's just how I create. I just like take all these things that I love and put them in,
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a quote by Hidetaka Miyazaki, the creator of Dark Souls. And it's I believe it's good storytellers borrow, great storytellers steal. So instead of just taking something and using it, you've taken it, you've made it your own.
Yeah.
And I love it.
That's interesting. That is really, thank you for saying that. That means a lot. And it's exactly what I've done, for sure.
Nice. Yeah. Fantastic. All right. Well, here's another one from Lotus, which I agree with. And this is in all caps lock, but I'm not gonna yell at you.
Okay.
How did he come up with the gomas?
Aww.
I love the goma.
So
am I pronouncing it right? Goma?
Goma. Yeah.
Goma. Okay.
So that is so interesting. Here's a scoop. There's a bit of a story behind the gomas. I originally wrote those. They were bears. They were like, I had them obsidian bears. So like who they were, and it was a completely different scene. But the whole chase through the jungle was based on that, where Dot fought and killed a bear, like a huge fucking black bear. And when I had, during my querying process, I had gotten a full request, and then an agent told me they gave me an R&R, which is a revise and resubmit.
Okay.
And so what she wanted me to do was basically, and a lot of the reason why the book got turned down by agents was because it was too long. It was like 173,000 words, and so she was like, if you can get this under 120, we can work with it. And so I did, and I sent it back to her, and then she ghosted me. So
No.
I freaked out, had a bit of a mental break, started like, I'm gonna write another book. And so I started writing. I got about 50,000 words into the other book. Actually, I think it's gonna be a good book. I'll go back to it eventually. In that book, I created gomas, and I don't know. I don't have like a, how did I come up with them? I love the golems. Like I just love like the idea of a golem, and but I wanted to do it. I wanted to steal it and make it my own. So I was like, I want to do, and I love making up like creatures too. So that's a big part of my writing in writing fantasy. I want to do that with all of my books. I want to create like a bestiary, so by the end we have like all these creatures, hex spiders, rakes, drakes. Those are all things that like I have a passion for that. Weirdly, I don't know, but golems are based on golems, so which are, everybody knows what a golem is. And I just wanted to make them cool and cute and kind of badass, So then I took it, and I took that and I put it into this world. And so I replaced the bears with gomas because I was like, gomas are way better.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
I lost my dog. My dog was killed by a rattlesnake a few years ago.
Sorry.
And her name was Izzy. So I wanted to have like an homage to her in this story. So that's where Izzy was born. And I love animal companions. I was like, the second I put the gomas in here, I was like, they're getting a goma. They're for sure getting a goma. That's the D&D player in me. It's like, how do we adopt it?
Yeah. 100%. Can I buy that goblin?
Yeah. Bobbin the Goblin.
Ooh.
Bobbin.
Oh no.
Oh no. I didn't mean that even. Not you. You're not a goblin. But there's like that joke, the Boblin the Goblin, like they just rhyme it or whatever. Oh, she's
typing.
Oh no.
No, I am 100% a goblin. For people who don't know, Bobbin, because she is one of our audience tier, is sitting in our text chat. So she can tell us what to say, essentially. She could ask more questions, or we could ignore her. It all depends on our vibes. But people join the Patreon, and you can be like Bobbin. With shoutouts.
You can watch the behind the scenes as the scenes happen.
As it happen.
Yeah.
Well, the follow-up to that is when do I get a goma? When are we getting those?
So was it you that I was talking to about?
Yeah, to be fair, this was Lotus's question, and then I was like, hilarious, because we were talking about it.
I want to do a goma plushie. It's all about timing and like doing it around. I have so many things that I'm like launching constantly. So like I have a few things in the works right now, but it is now on my radar of things I want to offer. And so like, I've just started. Oh my gosh, I'll remember. That just reminded me of something that I have to do. Sorry. I have licensing agreements coming that I'm signing with people that are going to be offering merch for Cello's Gate. Anybody wants to take on the Goma plushie, we can work something out,
Yeah.
But also, if nobody does it, then I'll do it at some point. I do have some Goma stuff coming, though.
Ooh.
So there's Goma stuff in the works. There's Goma stuff.
Pet rocks, baby.
Yeah.
Pet rocks. Yeah. That's technically what it is. Yep.
We're going back to the 80s.
I love. Oh my god! See, and that kind of stuff is like on accident. It's like so familiar to have a pet rock.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
Here it is. Making those dreams come true.
I love that.
Okay, so
go.
We've talked loved creatures. Now we're going to talk almost universally reviled creatures. The hex spiders.
I love
I'll
those.
tell you what. I did not know that people would have such visceral reactions to the hex spiders. But I'm like, hell yeah, that's awesome. That's almost like as pleasing to me as people telling me they love my character.
Yeah.
Like, that's cool that people are like, I get so many fuck yous. Like, so many people have messaged me, how dare you, in all caps, you know? Like, God, had to be spiders. I've had people that say they had to put the book down because they like, it was too
Oh,
much,
interesting.
which is crazy.
That is crazy.
I'm not scared of
A
spiders.
testament to your writing.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Yeah. I don't know. I didn't expect it. I've seen spiders are one of those classic fantasy
Oh, yeah,
creatures. They're
very
like
Tolkien.
they're up there.
Very
Yeah,
Tolkien.
you see it. Yeah, because of Tolkien, probably. You know, that's the. I skipped
Yeah.
that chapter in The Hobbit. I remember when I first read it the first time.
Yeah. He did it because
The
he was
spiders.
scared of spiders. He almost died as a kid by being bitten by one, and then since then hated spiders,
Wow.
and therefore wrote all of the like Shelob and yeah. There you go. There's some
That's amazing.
Tolkien
I didn't
lore
know
for
that.
you. Yeah.
That's so
That's
cool.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But
Yeah.
people hate the hex spider. I wanted to make them like pure nightmare fuel for sure. I wanted them to be one, like they're not poisonous. They're toxic. Like it's a toxin, not a poison.
Okay.
Because it's a paralytic. Because that's not what kills you. What kills you is them planting babies in your stomach and
Yeah.
those being birthed.
So great.
So
The
I was
pit
just like,
viper
that's
shit.
yeah, that's like yes, yeah. You know what? That might be kind of like a little small inspiration source. That and John Gwynn had ice spiders in
Ooh.
Shadow
Oh,
of the
don't spoil
Gods.
it.
I won't.
Spoil
Don't.
it.
Everybody,
Everyone's reading Shadow of the
cut that out.
Like next to my TBR.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Don't
sorry.
worry about it. It's fine.
Along with like
But I wanted
87
them.
other books. That's fine.
Yeah, 100%. You should read it. It's really good. I love John. But I wanted them to also be smart. I wanted them to be not just beasts, you know, I wanted them to be thinkers. And so they also have a bit of in-world lore because their silk is what is used for crest armor. Like Dot has a huge history with cause she was an apprentice weaver when she was in the Crest Academy. So like they're really built into the story. Unfortunately for everyone who hated them, they're not going anywhere. I
Ooh.
made them. You know, they're
Okay.
gonna be.
Okay.
We'll see them. Maybe we'll see
Prepare
them again.
yourself.
We'll see. Yeah, prepare yourselves to see them potentially. Maybe. No promises.
No problem. Okay, we'll see. Well, Lotus wants to know. Lotus again sent me lots, which appreciate her. Any teasers for future books? Is that our teaser, or can you give us anything else?
That is not your teaser. Let me think. I gotta
Just
think of next. I didn't plan a teaser.
I know. You don't have to give us one if it's,
Can't see a teaser and not want a
I
teaser.
will say. You don't want a teaser?
No. You can't see a teaser and not want a teaser. It's actually how they market
Oh,
them.
right.
The letter
So
Kenny.
I will say this about the structure. There's a very obvious book structure where it's like one stone every book. Like that's kind of
Okay.
like an obvious thing to do. That is not what's going to happen here.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
I have I mean, the series. I look at the series as its own arc. So like it should move in the same way that a novel moves with like kind of how like this book was broken into 6 acts. The full series is going to be broken into kind of 7 acts that are also all broken into like several parts. So the teaser is it's not going to be a predictable pattern
Okay.
to how the stories are going to go. So just like keep that in mind.
Okay. I like that
I don't
because
know if
then
that's
we
a
can't
good
predict.
teaser.
No,
Hell
I like
yeah.
that because then we can't predict what's happening. I like that.
Yeah, it's like twists within twists.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love a good twist. I mean, I think that's why I love Pierce Brown so much because he got me.
The man
He
writes a
got
good
me.
twist.
Yeah.
To be fair, he's a
Wakey,
pantser,
wakey,
so half the
goblin.
twists he doesn't know.
It's like, oh
Is he a
fuck, that
pantser?
happened?
He's a
yeah.
hardcore pantser. Hardcore.
That's why it takes so long. That's why it takes
Yes.
so long to get those books done.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Yeah.
Also, when he has to
That's-
throw out like large sections of books because of
Yeah.
accidentally
Was
writing a
light.
pandemic into it during a pandemic, and
Mhm.
Oh, is
Yeah,
that what happened?
that's what happened with
yeah,
Lightbringer. Is there was like a whole pandemic thing. It was basically a pandemic story, and then he went. I like either him or his editor said like nobody wants to read about a pandemic right now, and so Lightbringer got
Wow.
yep,
completely.
Oh,
Yeah.
no way.
Yeah.
yeah. We actually
No, yeah,
have an interview with him if you're interested in watching
I
it.
saw it on your YouTube. I just subscribed. I
Yeah.
hadn't yet, so I went and subscribed
Cool one.
before this, and I saw it was like it's the first one, right? It's
Yeah.
yeah. I
You're
saw that
forced to
there.
look at
I'll
it.
definitely check it
The
out.
glittering
I'm
gala, yeah.
100%.
yeah. So is there chunks
I know
that
that he
you had
had.
to throw out because you're a pantser?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So there were two other crew members that I cut out
Right, you said yeah.
from.
Yes.
So it was so weird is when I worked with my developmental editor, there was a lot. We did a lot of work to make the crew less like the Firefly crew. So that's funny. Is that
Yeah.
there's still so many parallels. There were more parallels,
That's
kind of like warped.
Mhm.
I also think Willow in particular was a she was a much more she was a much different character originally than she is now. Um, she was more Gray's right hand
okay.
initially, and so she was kind of like in that same way. She was like Zoe
Zoe.
from Firefly, yeah. Uh, and then we were like, let's make her a fucking vagabond. Let's just make her like smoking cigarettes and just cursing up a storm and having sex on the flight deck. Like she's gonna
Yeah.
be like the you never know what she's unpredictable. She might but she's like the pirate with a heart of gold kind of, that's like Willow's character. So that's I had huge sections. I actually have deleted scenes that I plan to offer later on that like
Cool.
they just didn't fit into
Yeah.
this story. Like I have a really cool scene between Dot and Rook that I think would would be really fun. It just didn't fit. It just didn't fit
Yeah.
the narrative here. But yeah, there are whole sections. The ending, I have. Oh, yeah, I could talk about all the things I cut, but yeah, I did. I did have to.
Lots of it.
Yeah, and rewrite and change and alter, and that last battle was probably went through 3 different formations, just because it's like a 20% of the book is one giant battle, and so there are like a lot of ways that could have happened. Yeah, yeah,
I like it.
yeah, for sure.
That's awesome. Um, the other thing that just popped into my mind, you seem like a very thoughtful, as much as you claim to be a pantser, a very thoughtful person in how much research and how much thought. I don't know what other word I'm using here. When it came to like the labyrinth part, like, did you draw that out?
Mm.
How did you know, right, when they go down, they're like divided? Did you have like a plan of like how are they all going to get out to the same spot? Like how does that play out?
Yeah, I knew what every so on the map that I drew, there is there are several landmarks that are, and I know what each of them are. I know why they're that. Basically this whole island was Cello's paradise that he and his people built, and he built it for like his following. So they all eventually died off, but all of these things were used. They were like used in, but he also I really like the idea that Cello had this kind of homage to Madeline, this like star-crossed lover thing between
Yeah.
them, and he was really hoping that she would come and that she would see all these things because like at the heart of it, Cello's just a romantic. My wife calls him Salt Bay, because that's I guess who she pictures in her head. Salt Bay.
Oh my god, that's hilarious.
So I knew exactly. I drew out the tunnels. I knew where they led. um I know the mountains, and I know what the island looked like before Cello changed it and after Cello changed it. So yeah, that's all. I guess I'm a pantser, but I like I know that in order to do this well, you have to be really thoughtful.
Yeah.
You can't half-ass anything. Or maybe that's just me too. I'm just not. I can't half-ass anything. You know.
You got to build the legs before you can fly by the seat of your pants.
Yes. Yeah. You need a chair.
There you go. I like it.
Yeah.
Well, we have one last question on the list, but I always like to
Okay.
ask. So we'll do one more and then the one that's on the list. But is there any question you wish we would ask you?
No, I
No.
don't think so.
Okay. I
I
didn't
don't.
know if there's
I'm
something
like
that you're
I
like,
don't have
why
any
has
plans.
nobody picked up on this?
No, everybody's picked
What?
up on everything that I
Yeah.
wanted them to pick up on. I don't think there's any. I don't have that list of like things that I want to talk about. The
Yeah.
only thing I really want to know is who's your favorite character. So like, and I don't. Do I know yours?
Dot. I
It's
said
Dot.
Dot.
You
Yeah.
said
But
it
then
was
you
Dot.
brought up
That's right.
Min,
That's
and I
right.
was
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
oh,
yeah,
I did
yeah.
love Min. I think because of how, as you said, her power, like that empathy side, like I did enjoy Min a lot when you brought her up. I was like, yeah, like,
But she's like she is the mother of the crew in so
yeah,
many ways, and there is that like level to her that I think that character isn't as like easy to identify with as somebody like Dot, who is an outsider, who is doesn't really understand, who may be a little on him, and like, but you love like she just you're watching her learn to exist in a world that
hmm,
she wasn't raised or built for, and I think that's something that people just love to see. You love to like watch that character grow.
for sure. Yeah. I think you did phenomenal with all of them. I loved the slow reveal of all of the backstories, where at first you're just like,
Thank
okay,
you.
who's this character? Cool, they're doing a thing. And then it's like, oh, that's why they're doing the thing. That's why they're acting that way. Like, that was a really great way of approaching that, which I think we talked earlier about the found family. I think that then cements it of when they all know, oh, that person goes off and needs whatever, time to themselves or acts in a certain way. And it cements that found family that you get when you just are forced proximity for so long, and some people know things about you and
Yeah.
some don't, just because you know Gray is very good at relating to most of them and having their backstory, but then you can see how the others start to piece together. But those slow reveals was one of my favorite parts as well. I'm a very much character driven person. When I'm reading, I need to you know connect with characters, or in some way fall in love with them.
Same.
And so
Yeah.
yeah, that's who drives the story. And so yeah, phenomenal with all of them in how you did that
Thank
slower
you so
reveal.
much for saying that. I've gotten critiques from people who I think there are two, kind of two fields for the most part. There are the random outliers who didn't like the book at all. But there are most people are like, I really liked it or I loved it, right?
Yeah.
So those people, and I think they have it's really subjective how you get to know characters and how much you see. There are people that it drives them crazy that they don't know stories yet. Like they want to know Mars's
Mhm.
full backstory. They want to know Dot's full backstory. And I'm like, you're gonna get it. I didn't it doesn't fit into this because I am a plot centric writer.
Yeah.
It I can only give you so much without it overwhelming you and making it feel like it's a giant character info
Yeah.
dump. I did think about doing like a short story for every crew member, but if it was going to slow down this pace that I had developed, so that's why we didn't do that. But I love Malazan Book of the Fallen. Are y'all familiar with
No.
Malazan by Steven
I
Erickson?
have, yeah.
It's a great series, but the way
Okay.
he writes is kind of a read and find out. Like
Yeah.
he'll just introduce you into stuff. He'll just like throw you in the middle of stuff, and you have no idea what's going on. And then, but as it reveals itself, it's like, oh, it's so rich and textured. But I think it's because he doesn't just smack it all onto you at once.
Yeah.
I never wanted to be that writer who just overloaded you with information and then got lost
Yeah.
in the story. For me, I want you to discover it as you need to. Like another big thing is my world queer normative, but you don't learn that Mars is gay until 60% into the book because it's not relevant. You don't need to know. It's not a part of the story. You don't learn that Dot is queer until she has a thought about it. But I also didn't want that to be like the defining thing. Just like Min and Farlow aren't defined by their race. And I don't have racism in this world. I have classism, which is a bit different, but I think that's also because I grew up super poor. So like classism is just like front of mind, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah.
Awesome. I love that. All right.
I don't
Well,
know where
the
I was going
last.
with that.
No, it's great. I love the ramble because we're
You
getting
went
so
exactly
much out
where you
of
were
you.
intended
Yeah,
to be.
we are getting so
Yeah,
much out of you.
right.
Well, the last question, and you already saw it, but I'm gonna in chat, but I'm gonna bring it back up. Is Beaver wants to know why?
Because I do not care what you think, but I have this really big ambition to like really please you, and make you feel things. And actually, I really care about what you think. So, all I do is in hopes that you'll love me. I just want you to love me and love this story, and that's why I'm driven by that.
I love it. Well, we do love you, and we love this
Well,
story.
you fucking nailed it. Yeah.
you're doing a great job.
Absolutely.
Doing great.
Thank you. That really means the world to me. It means so much. Thank you. Thank you for letting me come on here, for inviting me, for reading the book. Like, it's not what's
Thank you
so
for sending
crazy
it to us.
about the well, it's not like it's not a thing. It's not an easy thing. It's not a small thing. What you did when you read a book read someone's book. This is a 588-page book. It's a brick, It's like it's a time investment. And it means a lot that y'all like just went on a limb for a stranger. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Well, we're very happy to. I'm very happy that
Yes,
I've read
absolutely.
this book. And I'm so excited for the rest.
Yeah, try and stop us from getting our hands on the rest.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
For sure. I need to I feel like I have the whole thread is like everybody signing on to be ARC readers for book 2.
I know. So. I had to laugh at that of everyone being like, how do I get an ARC? How do I get an ARC? How did I
I'm
do
so
that?
excited. I'm so excited for I have so many things. I'm so excited for y'all to I have to be so careful because I already know the title for 2. And I have to be so careful not to accidentally say it because I talk about it at home and I say it, but when I talk about it in interviews, I have to say book 2 or like
book 2.
I'm just gonna stop saying stuff because I feel like I'm gonna accidentally say it. Now I'm stressed.
It's just
about
book 2. We'll stick with book 2.
We'll just mute it. It's fine.
Yep.
Oh, wouldn't that be so fun? I just reveal it to you two, and then y'all.
We'll just do a beep.
Bobbin's in here. Bobbin would hear
Oh,
it
yeah.
too. No. I have plans for the reveal.
Bobbin can keep a secret.
Maybe we'll do a follow-up as we're getting closer.
Absolutely.
I'll let y'all break the news, break the story.
I like it. Yeah, absolutely. Feel free to message us whenever you want to come on. You are always welcome. This has been a pleasure. Everyone, I was going to say go read it, but everyone, if you're at this point, hopefully you've read it, or else we've just spoiled a lot. So thank you, everybody listening who's read
all
it.
that much.
No, we were pretty good.
Not really, actually.
There was no plot points we talked about, really. So
we could do the big one.
It's safe. Yeah, you can say it now. Eddie's the stone.
Yeah. Okay, so I have a question for Skipper because we haven't talked about this. When did you figure out that Eddie was the stone?
Oh, you know that I don't ever try and predict anything. So it took me pretty much into the reveal. Like, I am just that person who's along for the ride. And when you do, I'm like, okay, cool. So pretty much like,
I
don't know.
You're just experiencing the story. You're not trying to figure it out.
For the most part, I am too.
Okay, when did you figure it out? Oh.
When did you figure it out?
When he was introduced.
Did you? So I love that.
I legitimately said it out loud. I was like, oh, okay, so Eddie's the stone. and then went on
I
with
knew
the
that
book.
was so many people are gonna guess it, and I knew that. So that's why I do like the. And I don't know if y'all saw Viscera live while
No.
they were reading it. They were like,
Mhm.
Eddie's the stone very early, and everybody was
Yep.
just real chill about it. And then when you get to the point where Cello says it's inside me,
Yeah.
Viscera was like, "Oh, I guess Eddie's not the stone. Dang it! I was convinced." So I did that on purpose to kind of like, like it's the
Yeah.
last
Yep.
line of the book. So I want to like mislead you because it's not the biggest twist. The biggest twist is Madeline's dead.
Yeah.
Of
For sure.
the story, because that's the one you really like. What? That's the oh shit moment. The Eddie
Yeah.
is the stone is like, I want you to feel like if you didn't get it, it's like, oh shit. But if you did get it, you feel proud
Yeah.
that you guessed it early. It's like one of those like it didn't need to be not guessed. I figured people would start trying to
Oh, 100%.
piece it together.
That's awesome.
You get the Captain Holt vindication.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, that's the moment. That's when that last line is just like, I want it to feel good that you got it, and not everybody's getting it. So Crescent, feel great that you got it, because not everybody's
I
getting
always do.
it.
Good
I'm
work.
getting a lot of people get it like the page before, like I've had a lot of people get it the page before, but the people who are like, there's something off with this guy. For sure. He's not just some regular immortal. Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, I'm just always along for the ride. Like people all the time are like, "Oh, when did you?" And I'm like, "I don't know when it happened." I never guess. I'm not that person. I'm just there. I also notoriously in
Skipper
the
lives in the
den.
now.
I
Okay.
live in the now. I hate also like
Right.
theories. Like that is why if you're in the den, the Red God fan theories channel exists, because they kept putting them in the I have finished Lightbringer, and I was like, I don't want to see these. I don't want your fan theories. Get rid of
I've
them.
seen so many. So many are upsetting. They're so upsetting.
Yeah, I
The
don't want to know.
theories alone. I'm like,
I mean,
Just let me live in the moment.
the book's gonna be upsetting. Let Pierce Brown upset me. I don't need all my
Exactly. I don't
friends to
need
upset
you upsetting me.
yep.
me. Yeah,
I
I
want to be upset.
definitely. There are no like deep mysteries that have been introduced in book one that weren't solved in book one.
Okay.
I don't think. They're like. There's no like ruminating right now on theories. It's gonna come. That stuff. They really, in like writing books, they tell you like in the first book, you really want it to have a closed ending. So it feels like you got a full story. That's a Brandon Sanderson tip for sure. That's why like Mistborn feels that way. It feels like it's a full arc.
Yeah.
But there is obviously more to come.
Mm-hmm.
There is like, I don't even know if it's a cliffhanger. Do y'all think the ending is a cliffhanger?
No.
Yeah, no. Like there's more to come. The story's not over, but it's not a like, oh god, like what happens, right? When you're like
Right.
sitting there being like, what the fuck? Like
Yeah. Yeah. Golden Sun spoilers.
It's
5,
not
4,
Golden-
3, 2,
Yeah.
1. It's not the triumph.
Right. Exactly. That's what I feel. I was like, I didn't put a cliffhanger, but a lot of people call it a cliffhanger, I think, because it's like there's this big revelation.
Yeah.
And it means a lot. Now you can like, oh, what the hell does that mean? And so I think that's how people feel, is that there's a lot to come, but you still feel like you got the whole story in this book.
Absolutely.
So we'll see what happens next.
I'm so excited. All right. Well,
Sure will.
we'll talk to you soon about it. Either about,
Yeah.
stuff to come, or when we get Gomas, or whatever else. You message us. You can come back on. Or if you want to talk Red Rising, you can do that as well. Thank you so much for joining us. This has been incredible. You are so lovely. It was lovely talking about
Thank you.
Yeah,
you
you
with
are
all
It
of
was
this.
wonderful
a
talking to y'all.
fantastic
Thank
guest
y'all.
and person.
Yeah.
Thanks, y'all. Thanks. We'll talk soon. I'll see you at Jeopardy.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, for sure. We'll make sure
I don't know
that
if y'all do Jeopardy.
I don't do Jeopardy. I get too angry with the trivia.
Either.
I do pub
I'm pretty
trivia
sure I
like
work
2
during
times a
that.
week, and I'm like, no, you guys are too chaotic for my trivia liking.
They're
No,
so
I love
fast.
trivia. They're so
They're so
fast, and I'm
fast.
like, this is too chaotic. I need rules for trivia. I need set yeah. But we will
There's
make
like a
sure
locker
that
room in
like you
there
are
for sure.
yeah. It's crazy. But we'll make sure down below in the description we have everything, including your band. We'll make sure to tag them in.
Hell yeah.
Thank you.
And then thank you everybody for listening. Join our Patreon, and then you could be like Bobbin and hang out in the audience. Next week we have a little bit of a change up. I did say we are going to get into the animal series that we're going to be doing, but next week we're actually going to have the infamous triplets on from the den to talk found family. So that's a little good segue there, but found
Hell
family
yeah.
in Red Rising. And then right after that will be our 100th anniversary. Yes, we've been
100th
here
anniversary.
for 100
Yeah, absolutely.
years.
100 years.
100th episode, and so we're
We
gonna
look
do it
fantastic.
live. Information more to come, or it might be out by the time this shows up. And we're gonna do it live and have a whole party for 100 episodes of Fade to Obsidian. So there we go. But yeah,
Hell yeah.
Congrats.
thank you.
That's amazing.
I
Thanks.
only accidentally realized it was coming. We would have missed it, and then I went back and jokingly counted something, and I was like, "Oh, this is episode 98 we're on." That I was like, "Oops, we should probably do something." So super excited.
That's so amazing. Congratulations.
Yeah,
That's a huge. You need to start numbering the episodes.
I do. It would be a
Oh
lot
my-
easier if I did that. Yeah, I could do it. But yeah, thank you everybody watching. Thank you for joining us, and yeah, we'll see you around the den or see you next week.